I am making this. I am aware that a lot of people could come across this video and could hit me a like and a dislike, could support me and not support me, and that's okay. This is my personal story and why exactly I had to leave it. So it's okay whether you're supporting this or you're not. That's fine. I am just thinking that I have to share it. I have to say it how it is. As there were a few kind of little things up and down going, I'm not going to go into like too many details because that's really unimportant. I'm going to focus on the main thing that led me to say this is no longer that serves me and I have to go my own way. So that's going to be the main reason why I decided to just leave. And also, I won't be bashing anyone. No staff member will be bashed in this video. So calm your bananas. Calm your bananas and you're not going to be bashed in this video. So don't worry. Don't think that, oh my God, what is she going to say? Did I do anything to her while she was working there? You're okay. So for the third time, calm your bananas. You're okay. Don't worry. And that's why, as I said, I'm not going to be bashing anyone, mentioning names and kind of that kind of way, not going to be like a real negative about it. I'm going to just share what were the main reasons that really led me into this uncalm state that I decided that I have to part my ways. So if you clicked on this video, you're probably interested in my story, and I shall give you the story. Excuse my orangey hands because I overdosed on a self-tan. Saint-Tropez, that is. Gradual, it's called, but it's quite stains your palms. Anyways, so before I begin my story, I will not mention locations or any names. I will tell you just my story. It is Tesco, yeah. But I'm not going to say where. Anyways, I was looking for a job and I applied in there. I actually had no idea where the shop was, kind of, but I had to use Google Maps to get there. But before that, before I had to pop up the map open, I applied online. I just decided I'll give it a go and apply. And luckily, they called me the next day. And I was over the moon and I was like, wow, they called me so quick and they organized an interview. So I was like, wow, 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 this is really good news. Mostly I catch jobs really quickly. I don't even really got many interviews. I just kind of get the job and straight away work, that kind of way. This was my kind of like a first kind of like proper interview, so I didn't even know it's where. So I I just wore my regular clothes. I didn't want to dress up in a suit or any kind of like too formal because I was thinking like this is Tesco shop. I mean, you don't need to be too formal. I'm not going for the manager job. I'm just going for a customer kind of customer assistant, like a staff member. And just wore my regular clothes. I wore my kind of like a sneakers, but not too sneaker-ish, but kind of like decent enough. And I wore my jeans. I got to the place. I actually asked the bus driver where I need to stop in order so he doesn't take me further down all the way to the Dublin capital city. So he told me where to stop and I stopped where I needed to. I popped the Google Maps on and I was like, whoa, that's a really long walk. It took about 25 minutes. But it actually wasn't so bad because it was like a road straight on that you go and it's not as far as it may seem, even though it's 25 minutes, but the walk is quite nice. It's literally straight on and that's it. So I got to the place. Of course, as nervous as I felt, I went up to the customer service and I asked for the name that called me to go into the interview. So she told me to sit on the bench and wait that someone will get me. So I was waiting. Then I seen there was another few people. So I assumed that they were for the interview as well. And I asked them and they said yes. So I was like, wow, this is great. So anyways, we had an interview and they asked me a couple of questions, couple of questions that I shared also my strength through the years, kind of that way. I mean, it wasn't too personal, but it was a really lovely interview and the lady was nice. I'm not going to complain. She was really nice. And I was feeling really comfortable with her in the interview, explaining to her what I did in my past, how long I stayed in my previous jobs, la la la. They told me, okay, so you will have an induction, and it's like a full day of a kind of introduction and showing stuff around and all that. The people, I think there was about four of us. We went that day and it was induction. So they kind of showed us around. They explained to us a bit of the shop and how it works and all that. But I never knew my position because they never told me. I personally, I thought I'm going to be staff member on the floor, and because they never told me, but that's the job position that I applied as a staff member. And I just thought, okay, so we did our induction, and then I went home, and they told me the day when I will start working. So I arrived to work, and I was looking for the same lady that I did my induction, but I didn't seem to see anyone. And I was in cafeteria, so, or canteen, we actually say it here. So I was in canteen waiting. It was a little bit after 8, and it was time to already head to work. But I sometimes I feel quite shy, and I don't really ask people a lot. Like now I'm more open, and I would kind of like ask what's going on. But I was feeling a little bit shy, and I was sitting there in canteen and was hoping that that manager lady is going to get me. Nobody got me, but I seen few workers kind of were looking at me, and they assumed that I am new. So one my team leader came in to me, and he was like, "Are you the new worker supposed to start on deli?" That was the area that I was supposed to start, and I wasn't told. I had no idea. I actually thought that I'm going to be staff member on the floor, but that was okay. I was like, oh yeah, I just wasn't sure where do I start. He's like, oh yeah, you're working on daily with us. You need a white coat. It's like this white short coat to cover your, uniform. I didn't have a uniform at the time. I just had my shirt and trousers. And anyways, he gave me whatever I need. I needed safety shoes. I needed a white short coat for the daily and hat, the hairnet to cover up, like basic uniform for the deli food area. Okay, I went in there. So to cut it a bit short, it was quite good. I liked it. It wasn't so difficult. There was a pizzas that you could make and sandwiches and rolls for people. Of course, I was really scared at the start because I didn't work in a food department, and it's quite easy. You wash your hands, the hygiene level must be good and all that, which no problem for me. And pizzas making, I was really scared serving customers. I remember customers start coming up for meals, like sandwiches and rolls and pizzas, and I was really scared. I was like, ugh. And she told me, this one lady that I really liked, the worker, she told me, just go for it, just pretend that they're not there. Just make it as you would make it at home, of course, make it like decent. And yeah, and I got over this fear, and I served the customers, and I started to, really get along with it very well. And so it was really good. No complaints whatsoever. There was a really busy lunchtime, and that's when it got really hectic. I remember there was a full line of people waiting, and there was like only two of us, sometimes even one. And that was difficult because I was like, for lunchtime, we should have more people. But because the staff members had to get their own lunch, we didn't really have much of a choice. So that was fine anyways. So I worked there for a year on a deli. It was good. I got into the routine of what we need to do and everything, and tried to keep the place tidy, and followed all these rules that must be followed in a kitchen area. So then after my coworkers, some of them are saying, "Oh, Lana, you are going onto the fish and meat area," because there was a deli, and then the next one is fish and meat area. Like many places has it. There's a raw section, then there's like a cooked foods, and I was like, "Really? Nobody ever told me that. I had no clue that they're going to move me over there because nobody said it. They're like, oh yeah, you're going. Like, why nobody told me that? Maybe it's not true, but they like, well, we're not sure. They were just talking about it. But I was like, well, either way, I mean, they surely would have told me that they thinking of moving me there and training me on the raw food area because I never worked with the raw food, fish and meat. So then one day they told me, oh, you are going to the meat and fish. And I'm like, oh, nobody really told me that, so I wasn't really prepared. And they were like, is that okay? And I was like, well, yeah, it's okay. I mean, I'll adjust. It's just I never knew. I mean, I heard from the coworkers, but not exactly from the higher staff. So like, okay. So anyways, I got into the mostly mostly fish area I was, which was actually fine. And the smell and everything didn't bother me. Now the meat was a bit more raw, but I really got into it and didn't have much of a problem. Now there were a few issues with the workers there and there, kind of, nothing too crazy, but it was starting to get really sloppy. And our uniforms that we had to pick, uh, they were sending out the old white coats, the used ones. Now I think every either week or something, they're supposed to send it out to the company that cleans them, dries them, and all that, and send it back to us, which we had an apron and white coats. We did not have to take them back home and wash them. The company were doing that for us. Now lately we started to have a lot of problems, which I really didn't like, was that we never had a clean coats, and we were made to wear the dirty ones. And I told them, I said, I won't mind from the deli section to wear because there's not much dirt. But when you work with the raw fish and raw meat and there's like literally blood can splatter on you, or fish and everything, you cannot wear it more than a day. Maybe 2 days you can squeeze it in, but those uniforms were there for weeks, and they were telling us to wear it. And I said, no, I'm not going to do that. And the head managers, the deputy manager, that is, yeah, they were really careless. Every time I address the issue that the uniforms are not washed, we cannot wear those raw meat and fish uniforms on our bodies. I mean, like, it's disgusting. They're dirty. We can't wear them. The aprons are all stinking and they're so dirty. I even took a photos. I will not share these photos. I never share these photos with anyone unless we would had more of that issue. I kept them as a, how to say, I kept them as a proof purpose kind of way. I took those photos because just in case there's going to be a trouble, and I will have it proof to show, from my side. So yeah, I was starting to get really frustrating, very annoyed, and even feeling down a lot of morning time. And I worked sometimes morning, sometimes kind of starting from the day, afternoon. So I really started to get very annoyed because if I would work in the morning, I would come in and waste my precious time that I could probably freaking sleep at home. And I was really getting frustrated with them. And I said to one manager, I remember I said, we don't have any uniforms. I'm working on a meat and fish this morning and I don't have clean uniform. And he told me, wear the dirty one. And I looked at him and I said, no. Are you kidding me? They were there for weeks. I will not wear it. I'm going to wear a clean one because I work on raw meat and fish and I'm not going to wear a dirty one that stinks, literally stinks, will not. I said, have a look at those. Have a look at those white coats and aprons. They're absolutely disgusting. I'm not going to wear. So we managed to get myself a clean one. And of course, that was really frustrating. I would go home, I would say to my family, I would say that this is really getting annoying. It really feels like they don't give a shit about us. And I was really frustrating. Other workers, some of the workers would wear it. And I was like, how can you wear it? Those uniforms were there, worn not just by you, but like worn by others. And you're still wearing it? Like, how you not even getting sick wearing it? They're so manky, like they're so dirty. So anyways, then after a while, I actually starting my tourism and hospitality studying at the time, which was fine because I would get home, I could study, or mostly on my days off, I would study, which was great. I was really excited to gain a bit information about something, and tourism and hospitality was something that caught my eye, and I really wanted to, learn about it because I wasn't sure what I wanted to study. So that was a perfect option for me, and it was interesting, and it was the same environment I already worked in, so I will gain kind of more information about it. So it was mostly for food and beverages. It was hotel management and how hotel works, all that stuff, very interesting for me. So we started working really crazy hours. We started working, let's say, from 7 in the morning until 7 evening. That's like full day. And that'd be only like two people. You'll be working in the morning and then someone comes in evening time. And then between the breaks, it really exhausts you because you'll be pretty much like by yourself, you know? And even though sometimes it will not be so busy, there's still plenty things to do, such as cleaning and all that. Now there was a times when there would be very small customers and you literally would be just standing doing nothing there. Then it's understandable for one person to be there. That's okay. But there's still cleaning to do. And mostly we would kind of just, if there's no customers, we would kind of just hang around and, you know, kind of they will bring us sometimes on the floor to kind of fix the shelves if there's nothing to do like that. But then usually close to evening time we start to clean up everything and we have to bring this meat in, kind of like clean up the fish counter and all that. So it started to get really really annoying with the dirty uniforms that they won't send out. They literally won't take the time out to go into those lockers, get those dirty uniforms like they should. It's their duty to do so. They never send it out. And that was a real struggle. So what they start doing, they start to use washing machine that was outside this shopping center. They start to use that washing machine. It's mostly for customers, not for staff members to be washing their uniforms. But for a quick option, that's what they were doing because, I mean, we needed something clean fast. So they wash it for us. Sometimes they won't even be dry. You were wearing like half dry garments on your own clothes. Very annoying, very uncomfortable. Because I worked there for a while, my team leader requested for them to give me a contract up to 35 hours and they said no. But I did work sometimes even 39 hours. So it was like, why would it matter? Like, why can't you give me up to 35 hours contract if I already worked even over 35 hours? But they said no. They didn't want to give this contract. So fair enough. I decided since they are being this way, I'm going to just work what my contract hours are, which is up to 30 hours. Because if I'm working over 35 hours, sometimes 39 hours a week, give me the contract then. But if they're not giving me this contract to work a decent, hours per week, you know, then I'll just work what I am contracted on, which is up to 30 hours. So then I decided this is actually not a bad idea at all to work up to 30 hours how my contract is because I could use that extra time at home to study. But then they were starting to give me more hours. And I said, what's going on? They don't want me to have a contract up to 39 hours or even 35 hours. They don't want that. But yet they give me those hours to work when I am contracted by the document up to 30 hours. So I said, I will only work up to 30 hours, 25, 30 hours like that, between that. Because that will, since I have this contract, I said, it will give me opportunity to finish my studies even earlier. So this actually works out great for me. So they started to give me more hours. So I had a chat with one of the managers and I said that my contract is up to 30 hours, which that's only hours that I will work because I'm not contracted to work more hours because they didn't want to give me that. And they told me that because we are so low on staff, there's something that will be happening for a while. They said that well, we are very low on staff, so you all will be getting extra hours. But they said that they didn't want to give me contract for those hours. Why would I work up to 39 hours if my contract is only up to 30 hours? If I'm working so many hours, then at least give me a contract of those hours. But then I said also, because I started to study, it's perfect for me. I can work up to 30 hours, how my contract is, and do my studies, work and do my studies. They did not lower my hours. When I checked the timetable, they were giving me way more than I am actually signed for. And I asked again, and they said, it's going to be a couple of weeks. So I thought, okay, a couple of weeks, it's fine. I can wait. And then I can just really relax, work, do my hours, and also study. It did not happen. I still worked many hours, and it was really unfair because they would not give me the contract, but they still give me an hours. So I decided to mention that again and say, like, I'm really stressed out. I started studying, so the 30 hours that I have in my contract is perfect because then I can go home and study. It was a long journey for me to get to work as well. It took about an hour by the bus, and then it took 25 minutes to walk. And sometimes going home, I would wait sometimes over an hour for my bus to come to the location, bring me back home for another hour. So I wasted a lot of time traveling, and it was really exhausting as well. So that's why it turned out, since they gave me contract up to 30 hours, it's perfect for me. I will not be super exhausted. I won't be able to study. And then I mentioned that how stressed I feel because all the time I have to go and fish for those clean uniforms that we don't have. Sometimes you have no choice but to wear dirty one and feeling miserable because you have this dirty uniform. God knows who wore it. And then, and I also said, because of the hours, I said, I physically can't work so many hours studying. I could work those hours if I had the contract. Then I'll be set on and I'll be motivated because I know that I'll be earning a good money and I'll be contracted. But the reason why it really upset me is because they refuse to give me that contract full hours. Yet they are expecting me to work those hours, but they're refusing to give me a contract. So this been going on for a while, and mostly stress was coming from the dirty uniforms that they did not take care of it. The white coat, all bloody and fishy, and the aprons, they were disgusting. So that's mostly where the stress came. I also mentioned to my friend at the time as well, and I told her as well my issue. Kind of didn't seem like there's much progress about it. So I decided very long. I spoke to my family about it. I said, this is really not worth it. Why should I go there and, work? First of all, they refuse to give me higher contract, yet they expect me to work more hours than my contract, but they can't give me the contract. And then all these dirty uniforms they don't take care of. And when you mention to them or some other problem, something breaks or something, they literally ignore you. So I decided one day that I'm going to write a letter, a nice letter, you know, explaining my situation. And I mentioned in a letter that I'm going to work what I need, which was I needed to work 2 weeks and then I can leave. And I'm going to part ways with this company. Our personal manager, PM, as she's called, the new lady that we got, I gave that resignation, or what is it called, that final letter, I gave it to her. And she was really rude to me. And she asked, why? Like, why you're leaving? And I said, I wrote it in a letter and I explained. It was so clear, and she's asking me why. So yeah, some of the coworkers were really kind of sad that I was going to leave, but I said it's for the best. A lot of them said that it's really good. It's a really smart and bold choice that I made, like very brave, because they said they wish they had leave, but they can't really because they have too many things to pay for kind of that way. So they were actually really happy because they weren't in a happy workplace, but they didn't really have a choice because they have the cars and everything to pay for. So they really were stuck in this job. Coworkers were like, oh yeah, well, good luck with whatever, where you be going next and your studies and all that. And we were pretty excited that, that I'm going to leave. I was, and they were like just wishing me good luck and all that. They even saved up and gave me a little present, like a going away, which was like really cute of them. And then my final day has finally arrived. So happy, and I was like, the doors are open for me, my next chapter, stuff like that. A couple of managers asked me, and and they kind of gave me a good luck kind of talk, like genuine, good luck. Now the one manager came up to me. He says, "Oh, I heard you're leaving," and I said, "Yes, I'm leaving." And he says, "Are you sure?" you sure about that? Kind of that gave me like a weird vibe about it. It's like, you, like, are you serious? The amount of times I mentioned about those dirty ass uniforms I had to wear, and I didn't say that to him because the, I didn't want to waste my breath anymore about it. So I just kind of like looked at him, thinking like, are you serious? You're asking me this? And then he was like, well, good luck. Kind of, like basically that, oh, you're making, like the vibe he gave me, it's like he said, oh, you're making a mistake, kind of that way. My last day, yeah, my last day, it was, I was happy that I was leaving because the way they showed me how they acted. My letter of, when you leave, you get your letter that how many years you work there and all that. I don't remember what's the letter called. Reference letter, yeah. So I asked her, I said, I would need a reference letter from you, please. And I always, I approach people nicely all the time, regardless what kind of stuff it is. And I asked her about the reference letter, and she said she was telling me actually for a week. She said, I have for you tomorrow. And this was the final day, and I told her, for a week you were telling me tomorrow, tomorrow. I said, I really need it today because today is the last day I'm going. I don't want to come back and get that letter. And actually, important moment that I really realized how lousy they are. It was just before I went in to ask for a reference letter, remind her again. She was in the office and there was a deputy manager and she was there sitting. She never even turned around to me to have a look at me. She was sitting like this and he was there in front with some kind of papers. I don't know what she was holding, and she never approached me face to face. She put her hand out like that and she said, I need a key. And I told her, that was the moment when I told her that, and I said, yes, I will give you that when you give me the reference that I asked a week ago. And then she was like, okay. So I waited. She told me to wait 10 minutes, I think it was. So I waited. I waited for 10 minutes. No, enough is enough. I asked for a week and all she was telling me was, tomorrow, I'll give you tomorrow. Oh, I forgot, I'll give you tomorrow. So I was like, enough is enough. I deserve that reference letter. I deserved it, and a good one. So she she said 10 minutes and I went back. So I went back into a canteen and I was sitting there sipping on my water and waiting. And there she comes in. She gives me that envelope like that and expects the key back. I gave her the key back and I just took that letter and said thank you. And she never said anything. She never, she never even said good luck, good luck in your future, or, asking what are you going to do next? Are you just going to be studying? Nothing. Nothing from them at all. Even my own, he was the boss of the whole shop in that that shop. He was the actual head manager. He never came up to me and he never asked anything. He never wished me good luck, nothing. So that shows that I worked there for 2 years, even though it's not such a long time, but still, I was there working on long hours. I was there stressing. I was there wearing those dirty uniforms because they could not look after and provide us with the clean coats and aprons. There was a lot of struggle on there as well. When there was low staff members, we would always show up. I traveled from my area 1 hour and I walked at 25 minutes. And then to get home, I would walk in the rain back. I made the effort to show up for work, such a long travel and such a long walks, and they never even wished me anything. So I just, like, I was really bummed. I even, like, I called my sister because I got a bit upset. I was really like, I started to get anxiety and kind of like, I called her and said, oh my gosh, like, they're so ignorant, so ignorant. And she told me like, well, fuck them, like, you'll be okay. You'll find something else, like you'll be fine. It's so good that you got out of there. And I was like, I just can't believe it. I can't believe how ignorant they are, like not even wishing anything and or not even saying anything, kind of like good luck, like such an ignorance. And I said, even not only that lady that's supposed to look after the staff members, but even the actual head manager of the shop, he never said anything. So I was kind of like, I was bummed, but I was also like super relieved. And I was thinking to myself, my gosh, this is so good that I got out of there. Because, this shows the way they are acting towards me. They really don't give a shit about people who works there. So anyways, I was very free. I had a time off. I studied and it was really good. And it was actually not long before I found my next job that I really, really loved. I really enjoyed that job. It was in the kitchen work, but it was really good. I enjoyed it. I learned quite quick. There was a lot of things to learn, but I liked all the people that worked there. But then, unfortunately, coronavirus arrived and we stopped working. And yeah, but the stopping working really helped me to get through my studies, which I finished actually earlier, a month earlier, I believe. And I got my diplomas and all these certificates that I deserved, and I got them nicely. Everything is done. And yeah, and that's the next chapter. We're just waiting. I am chilling at the moment and join Twitch. I'm twitching Svetlana Diaries. The whole story that I was explaining was basically why I left it, and explain the situation as well of how I felt of leaving and how they didn't care. And it also made me realize that it doesn't matter what kind of job it is. If you have a good management and good staff members, you will be really good at that job, and you will, like, there is, of course, stress is in any job. Every job there is, like, the other one that I got after was like really busy. Like, I got a few weeks before Christmas, which was like really crazy, busy. And I was thinking, like, that's all right. I mean, this happens in a job. Just you have to be chill out, be calm, and just do your job. But of course, stress is in any job. But then it all comes down to managers, if they care for you. But anyways, so this is the story. It bottled up all to the last end, where you really start to think that I really start to think and say, like, this is not worth it in my life. I know stress, and then I know de-stress from the work. When you have to come in, be so stressed from wearing this dirty stuff that they're supposed to look after. They don't, and then they give you, refuse to give you a contract, but they want you to work those hours. So it's like, enough is enough. And don't be stuck in a job just for the sake of the money, because there is always something out there that's much better for your well-being. So this is the story of the day, and I actually was thinking to make the story for a while, but I never really kind of got to share it. I hope this gave you a little bit as well of advice. Let's say if you experience something that it's not right, you're not really alone, and you shouldn't be stuck feeling this way in a job. There is stress, there is, busy moments in work, but also there is a limit to it. If you're not feeling like they care for you, get out. So yeah, so thank you for listening to my story. And I also want to mention something, that there was one particular person at that time that I spoke, and this person was giving me this really great advice as well, about quitting it, leaving it, leaving that no longer serves you. And you know that person kind of gave me a push as well. Now, I haven't been in touch with this person for a while, but this person was as, like, friend type, kind of more like an online friend, but it kind of gave me a push as well. And then mostly my family gave me this push and said, get out. You definitely find something else. Get out of there. This no longer serves you, doesn't bring you happiness, so just get out. That's what I did. And yeah, it's true. There's always something out there better. And, if you're somewhere stuck and feeling miserable, it's not worth it to stay. Not for your mental health. Your mental health is more important, especially in the workplace. So yeah, so thank you for managing somehow to stay with me through this whole story. I don't believe this was such a long video. I think you managed to stay with me till the end. So thank you very much for staying, and ask me anything. Comment if you have any questions, or maybe you are in the same situation. I surely can help you and give you a bit of advice. So that's about it anyways. Have a good day, have a good night, whatever time of the day you have, and thank you for watching. Bye.